Welcome to Gear Up with Big Iron.
If we ever have your sale, we're going to work as hard as we can to make sure it's the best sale we ever had.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the holiday season with Gearing Up here at Big Iron. Thanks for listening to Gear Up with Big Iron. We've had more and more viewers and listeners every week as this continues to escalate. So thank you very much for sharing this information with everybody that you know. And we talk about interesting topics on this program throughout the year. A lot of it has to do with the machinery that we sell and the land that we sell, but a lot of it has to do with the families and the other subsidiary businesses that we serve in this service industry that we call Big Iron and Sullivan Auctioneers. But today, we've got a special guest, the brains of the operation, a farm girl from Hartington, Nebraska. Her married name is Baker. I can pronounce that. Her married name, I'm going to let her tell you all about that. But she is a farm gal. She's our director of brand. But you can give us a little bit more
Yeah.
about that. Sarah Baker, welcome to
Thank
Gear Up.
you. Yeah, thanks. Love being here today. So you're right. I am a farm girl from Northeast Nebraska. He's still farming, so go back there all the time. We love harvest season. It's our favorite time of year in our family. My maiden name is Hochstein. So yes, I did a solid change to Baker there because most people know how to say that one. So, but yeah, now I'm a rural girl still living in Wahoo, Nebraska with my family, which we love. Started our life in Omaha and wanted to go back to that small town world, and so we're really happy to be doing that.
And your dad, we got to make a shout out to
Yep,
him
Mick
uh,
Hochstein.
because he's got a John Deere tractor collection that he showed me that's probably been a year ago
Couple
already.
summers ago, yeah,
Yeah, it's impressive. He's got the rare find John Deere low-hour pristine tractors
he is.
tucked away in his shed, and many of them, folks, are parked on carpet.
Yes,
Okay,
they are very
they
well treated.
they are sitting on carpet, and I think they are washed and waxed,
They are.
if not fluffed and puffed, as we like to say it every other day.
They're ready for visitors if anybody ever stops by to have a quick look around the shop. But yes, avid collector, one of our favorite things to do is to go back home and he pulls them all out of the shed and all the grandkids get rides and it's like our favorite thing to do on a weekend in the summer and the fall. And so yeah, he's a John Deere lover. I grew up definitely a John Deere girl, but I'm definitely not colorblind. I have a son who's a very passionate case lover just to make his grandpa frustrated. So
Got to do that. Got to
yeah.
do that. So another thing that you're been busy with the last little bit is, the town of Wahoo always has championship
Yes.
high school sports
Exactly.
athletes, and you just come off of the championship game
We
at
did.
in Memorial Stadium, and unfortunately that didn't work very
I
well.
know, C2 runner-ups in football,
Mm,
but, yeah, we love our Bishop Neumann football team, and we have a great community as a whole. Wahoo Public was, champions in C1, so
mhm.
it's an amazing community to be a part of, and I have a 6th grader who has gone through Little League football, tackle football for 5 years,
Wow.
so, I was the emotional mom at the runner-up game. They were in the championship this year and got runner-up, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle high school. It's, it's gonna be tough because it was an amazing experience for him. So we love Wahoo. One of those things where you end up in a small town you didn't grow up in, and we just got really lucky to find an amazing place.
Yes, it's good. And now, of course, today this is airing on Thursday, and tonight are Lady Huskers. That's why I
That's
got my
right.
little Husker cup out here. We've been season volleyball ticket holders for a great number of years and football ticket holders too. But we're hoping our
Yeah,
volleyball girls do well. We were rooting for Creighton the other day,
I
so we could
know.
have had Nebraska and Creighton on a national platform
We love those
to
state.
play because
Yeah,
Nebraska is a volleyball state.
absolutely.
And watching these gals play just gets you all excited, goosebumps. So
Yeah,
tonight, we're going to be watching that with all the cameras on
yeah.
our Nebraska volleyball players. So today our topic is going to be kind of a year in review.
Absolutely. I think it's time to look back at 2024. We saw a lot of things happen this year. We saw ups, we saw downs, we saw the market change, we saw commodity prices. And I know that there is a lot that we keep a really close eye on. And we just wanted to get your perspective as we finish out the year to what we saw. So maybe we just start with talking about the major trends. I know you keep a very close eye on the auctions that are happening all the time, and we've seen some trends that have happened in the year that we look back on, and a lot of what we plan for in the next year is based on what we've seen.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I would like to share with our listening audience is, and many people might not understand it, but the big iron sales teams, a lot of the people that work within this industry, and the Sullivan a family, and a lot of the people work over there are farmers.
Yep.
I have been farming since I was old enough to stick in a clutch on an 806 tractor.
Hmm.
Now my boys are taking over that now, but I'm still actively involved because they call me and ask me questions.
Yeah.
So, the inputs, why is the price of fertilizer
Yeah.
right now the same price it was a year ago? That's still a question that we as farmers all want to know what the heck's going on because, a year ago in December, the average price of corn at our local ethanol plant was $3 and I'm sorry, $4.93.
Yeah.
And now in November, our average price was $4.24. So
Mhm.
we've got a pretty good, 50 cent plus decline in the average price of corn. Now
Yeah.
we did see better yields, but the mentality of, and we're at an ethanol plant where they
Yeah.
usually have a 5 cent positive basis here in Nebraska. If you're in Iowa or Illinois, maybe the base is a little more positive than that. But that's a lot better than your local elevator where
Yeah.
they're 10 or 15 or 20 cents under
Mhm.
the Chicago price. So, there was a lot of $3.80 harvest numbers
Yeah.
that the landowners, that rent the farm ground out, they take it and they want to sell it before they have to start paying storage.
Exactly.
So they took those prices, and that is what's having a lot of these landowners now looking at, why am I owning this land when I could sell it and stop paying taxes, real
Yeah.
estate taxes, um, and I could put that money on interest in a CD at that specific stage. Most of the land that's being sold now, folks, is being inherited. It's in a trust, and they're looking at everything like, what is my cash rent return? What is the value of that money sitting in a bank where I don't have any risk? Take that off the table. How easy is it to disperse that money in the event that they pass away
Yeah.
versus their kids now being an ownership interest with their brothers and sisters or whoever are in the members of that trust.
Yeah.
So we're having a lot of those conversations towards the end of 2024, and I think we'll start seeing some stuff in 2025 hitting the market a little better. I'll just jump to some land since I
Yeah.
started that.
Yeah.
The land prices, the marginal stuff had backed off. I
Mhm.
mean, if you've seen farmland that wasn't the highest producing soil types, that was the pretty good hit. There was some 20% price reductions
Yeah.
in some of those land sales. The real good quality soils, they held right in there. There might not have been an uptick like there had been in the last couple of years of 5 to 10 to 15% appreciation,
Yeah.
but it held right in there. Uh, we have seen, the timing just pre-harvest, pre-election,
Yeah.
that land that sold was a little less.
Mhm.
Right after the election was over, regardless, in my opinion, of who got in, uh, people said, now I know I got to deal with for 4 years.
Yeah.
And that changed attitudes. And the price of land shot up a little bit. Now, in the land sector, a lot of the policies, the different parties, that was key on how land was going to be looked at. Are they going to start taxing estate taxes, or, all that policy changes had a huge impact on why people would want to continue to invest versus why I don't want to invest.
Yeah.
So we have seen some of this land uh, run up in price. In fact, there was some land that sold by Macomb, Illinois, the last week in November, brought
Yeah.
$23,500 an acre. This was after the election. And there were several parcels that sold for over 22,000 in that same area. The Sullivan Auctioneers Group had that virtual land auction, and there was all types of interest and bidders from all over the country. And I think that was coming off of the election. Plus, there was a 1/4% drop
Mhm.
in interest rates. So interest rates have everything to do with everything.
Yep.
Commodity prices have everything to do with everything.
Yeah.
Optimism about the future has everything to do with
Yeah.
everything. And we started seeing that here the latter part of 2024. Whereas the beginning part of 2024, I remember back in January delivering corn for over $6.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people deferred that money.
Yeah.
So the first quarter of 2024, all the people that deferred into that tax year from 2023 Sarah, they were buying a farm or they were upgrading their machinery. So that stuff was going on, uh, early on.
So with all those changes in the commodity prices this last year, you talked about where we started the year in January to where we are now. What does that do to the volume of what was selling this year? Did you see the volume of tractors stay steady? Did it dip at all? Or like specifically in combines? We always have so much interest in the combine market.
What we saw was the farmer selling started to slow down and the dealer selling started to ramp up. A lot of the farmers, they started getting a little bit uncomfortable because the new crop forecast
Yeah.
was not real positive. So they didn't want to stick their neck out and buy anything new. In fact, the number of combines, I got one of the stats here. The combines we sold in 2023 was just over 1,020. In 2024, up until just a week ago or so, we had sold just under 760.
Yeah.
So that was 260, give or take, less combines that we sold
Hmm.
in that year. Same time, tractors, we sold about 1,200 less tractors in 2024 than we did in 2023. There was 4,986 in 23 and 3,790 so far in
Yeah.
2024. So we saw less machines selling because when farmers made good money in 2020 and 2021 and the first part of 2022, because we saw some 6.5 and $7 corn, they went right out and bought what they could
Yeah.
buy. And they paid probably too much for a lot of it because COVID was of years. They put that machinery in their shed and they were doing that because they wanted to beat Uncle Sam with the 179 depreciation, right? At 179. Your tax man tells you usually at the end of November that you're going to have a tax problem. You got to pay this or you got to do something.
Yep.
And a percentage of people go out and spend some money. Well, they were buying a lot of new machines
Yeah.
and they weren't trading anything in because that negated any opportunity they had in the 179 depreciation. So what they were doing is buying new fleets, not getting rid of any of their old fleet, and then they farmed with it for a year or two.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing, Sarah, is some of these guys that use the 179, they were only a couple years away from retiring anyway. So the retirement sales we had in the last quarter of this year, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Late model, low houred equipment because they bought it just 2 or 3 years ago to beat Uncle Sam.
That was going to be my next question of, the volume might not be the same year over year, which you referenced coming off COVID, and we knew the volume was high.
Mhm.
But what about the values? What are the values doing compared to prior year?
Yeah, the highs was during the COVID years because of
Yeah.
scarcity of demand. And we have seen a decline because of, our
Yeah.
commodity price and interest rates, but it hasn't been a disaster for this late model farmer owned
Hmm.
machinery. Now, notice I said farmer owned machinery. Um, it's in the 40 years I've been in this business, farmers will always reward farmers that are retiring.
Yeah.
And even though a dealer has an outstanding lineup of low hour trade in equipment that came from a farmer, it still doesn't seem to sell as well as the equipment sells when you're selling it on your own retirement or your estate sale. The estate sale usually tops the market.
Yeah.
And then right after that is that reputation farmer owned equipment. And we've said this for years and years and years. For those reputation farmers who take really good care of their equipment, like your dad does,
Exactly. Yep.
when he wants to sell something, everybody knows it and they're going to pay him a premium.
Yep.
And if you've got a neighbor or somebody knows in the community that kind of beats their equipment up a little bit, maybe they don't service it well and it sits outside all the time and there's 3 or 4 hired guys and they're different people all the time. Everybody knows that
Yeah.
reputation and that usually doesn't sell as well as the reputation equipment does. So,
Yeah.
uh, but the scarcity of the equipment that was available in the last part actually held its value better than what I actually thought it would be. And then once we knew there was going to be a crop, because we hit August and all of everybody's money's all put into their production. And when you're paying cash rent and you're buying high price fertilizer, and in certain areas where, unfortunately, here in Nebraska, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we have what we call irrigation. So we usually don't get a summer off
Yeah.
because we're chasing flat tires and stuck pivots and
Hmm.
all that nine yards. And we had them early rains this year, right after everything was planted and everybody had all their pivot tracks sealed in. But we had washout rains with two and
Yeah.
3 inches in May. So now pivots were getting stuck real
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, I lived in a flooded community for a short while there. Wahoo really took on some water. So we know exactly a lot of
Mm,
replant and a lot of people who were late planting
yeah.
season due to all that.
Yeah, I live in an area, Platte County, Boone County, Nebraska, where we really just want to use our pivots for 3 or 4, maybe 5 circles, or maybe not even use them at all.
Yeah.
That's just our insurance program. But you get into some of the sandier soils where you plant that crop and you got to run that pivot, 15, 20 circles
Mm-hmm.
because you got to just put it on as fast as the pivot walks because the water doesn't hold. So those areas are out there. But, still the machinery market, though, I think held better than I thought it would
Yeah.
do. If you're a registered bidder on Big Iron, you can log in and you can go to our auction results.
Yep.
And that's under the black tabs. So when you're on the Big Iron homepage, you'll see the words auctions, you'll see the word equipment, you'll see the word real estate, you'll see the word uh, transport construction, I think, and then you'll see the words
Collect a car.
livestock,
Yeah.
collector car. Every one of those drop down, every one you hover over them, there's a drop down box, and they'll have the different topics that you can click on. And one of those is auction results. Now you have to be registered. You have to take the 2 minutes to register because, yeah, nothing's free, but we're giving it to you for free.
Yeah.
All you have to do is register
Click that sign in button in the top right,
and
get
and and
registered,
get
and there you go.
registered. And then so now you want to look at S780 combines. You can be your own appraiser on your equipment. If
Absolutely.
you've got a John Deere 4020,
Yeah.
a 1972 John Deere 4020. Put 1972 John Deere, either spell out the words or JD, but I think you spell out the words, it's going to be the best. John Deere 4020. And all of those John Deere 1972 4020s that we have sold on the Big Iron platform
Yeah.
will come up and you compare.
Yeah.
Now, be careful when you're doing some valuations
Yeah.
too, because if something sold in 2022 and you see it sold for $25,000 on a John Deere 4020, well, first of all, you got to see what's special about it. There's going to be something
Yeah.
special about it.
And you're
But
getting
remember
that
what the price,
historical data there. So you're
yeah,
gonna get, yep, the ups and yeah, all the
remember what
market.
the price of corn was, though, Sarah,
Yeah.
during that time period, because you'll see that little bit of adjustment made,
Yeah.
unless it's an anomaly piece. If you have got a 4440 John Deere tractor and it's low hours, I don't care if it's sold during $7 corn or if it's selling now during $4 corn. It's going to grab the attention because you just don't find them,
Yeah.
right?
But talk about that attention because I think that you were talking about the way a retirement from a seller that's a farmer who has kept his equipment nice and worked on, it's maybe been he bought it new and he's had it his whole life, shedded, and now he's selling it. You know, it's one thing how our sales team represents that with great pictures and video and the combine, it's all spiffed up ready to go, but it's also the exposure you have to give that. We were working on a presentation recently and we were talking about how far equipment travels, and in 2022 it was somewhere around the vicinity of 250 miles. In 2023 it was just over 300 miles, and I believe in 2024 we were over 425 miles on average. Now that's the average, right?
Yeah.
You're going to skew it with some of that stuff we see traveling long distances, but the reality is that's a lot of change in a really short window of how far this equipment is willing to go. So you've got to have that national coverage or global coverage of that item to make sure you find the right bidder.
And that's a testament to the work that the sales reps do because they
Absolutely.
provide accurate information. So I remember early on in the inception of the Big Iron platform, we were selling an item in Kansas, and a gentleman from Washington State called me and said, I just can't drive all the way down to inspect that item and be cost effective. But he said, you guys provide so much more information and the videos are so detailed. I don't think I have to.
Yeah.
And I get very comfortable with that. If we can build bidders' confidence, they'll spend more money.
Yeah.
And they do. And that's our ultimate goal is to get that bidder confident and comfortable about what they're bidding and buying, what they're looking at. That's why we have always published the owner's number
Yeah.
and their name. A lot of auction companies don't do that. Well, why don't they do that? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think they're foolish for not. Why hide it somewhere? It is what it is. They said, oh, yeah, then, all the other auction companies are just going to go in and poach them and steal from you. I said, well, they only do it once.
Yeah.
If that seller wants to go somewhere else, let them go somewhere else. But
Yeah.
they see the difference in the end result and what is their net total return. We'll have a seller saying, "Yeah, I used somebody else once because I thought your rate was a little high," because we're not going to race to the bottom in our fee structure because we have so many moving parts and
Yeah.
getting that exposure out is not cheap.
Yeah.
You know, we used to say, yeah, you used to put your ad in a local newspaper and the Midwest Messenger back in the day, you know. Now we're putting our ads in all kinds of papers and it's called the digital media platforms.
Exactly.
And those are not cheap. I mean, you're our
Yeah.
brand manager. You understand how our
Yeah.
marketing budgets have doubled
Yep.
because of inflation just in the last little bit. So we're not going to race to the bottom
Yeah.
and see who can provide the cheapest. But our focus on, Sarah, and you are very well versed in this, is to make sure that the exposure is there
Yeah.
so the end result is higher than anybody else, even if their rates are a lot less.
Yeah. Well, and achieving that price that we want the market to dictate comes with making sure that we have everybody who may have interest in that item have the visibility to see it. And so much of the business that everyone is doing, from a buyer, a seller, a bidder, a watcher, right? Log into your account, and if you're looking at equipment results and a 40/20 is coming up on an auction, put it on your watch list. That's that you can help track yourself how the market conditions are in the moment, and historically as well. But it comes from just making sure that you have that investment in getting those items in front of the right eyes.
I like to talk farmer language because I'm a farmer. And, when you make your decision to plant your crops, you go out and you buy seed corn.
Mm.
You usually buy a good quality hybrid seed corn. And in many cases, a triple stack will out yield a single stack hybrid. We definitely know it out yields something you take out of your grain bin.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's use some of these new auctioneers that are just popping up all over the country. Basically, that's grain out of a grain bin because
Hmm.
they don't have a depth buyer base. So
Yeah.
that's what you're getting. But as that crop is planted, your triple stack is planted because you started, you wanted the best. Now you have to do certain things to that. Okay. You have to either cultivate it if you're organic or use your flamethrower to control the weeds. Or if you're not organic, you got to put on some herbicide and some fertilizer. Even the organic guys went out there and put on some chicken litter. Okay, so they're doing whatever it can to increase that yield. That's what we do at Big Iron.
Yes.
We are continually doing things by attending 174 different farm shows
Yeah.
throughout calendar year, by participating in so many events, not only supporting local communities for local awareness, but other events way outside the circle to bring in more bidders and buyers. I have so many sellers after they have their sale done, they call me up and I don't care what state they're in there, they'll say, I had like 7 different states
Yeah.
were bidding on my machinery. Why would somebody in Maryland be bidding on something that's selling in New Mexico? How do you guys do it? Well, that's what you do, Sarah. That's Sarah's job. And she has a great team
Yeah, we
that
do.
makes that all happen.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
for all of those potential sellers that are listening out there, that is so important.
Yeah.
That is so important. Yes, you have a lot of good local people that are in the auction business, but when you make that decision to have your sale or to sell that piece of machinery, uh, if you want a lot of eyes on it so you know you're getting its value, you need to call your area Big Iron rep.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
they'll get together with Sarah and they'll even show you everything that her team is doing specifically.
Yeah.
But those little bitty things that we do by putting on that extra fertilizer and putting on that extra herbicide at the end of harvest, you farmers that are out there, since I'm talking farmer language, you're going to out yield all the other people that plant bin run corn.
And it's such a full service approach because you have to start from the very beginning, which is, that sales rep in your local community who many times is in the agriculture field. If they're not, some kind of like whether they grew up on a farm or in that space themselves now, who's doing the work. So they understand the emotional value behind it. And they understand how important this experience is because, I mean, I grew up in a world where the the value of the equipment it was like a part of the family, and there's a story behind everything. And even now we're making memories with that equipment every day when those kids go back and they ride on it. So the decision to sell isn't easy, but then it's about making sure it's listed correctly, right? So that's the clean equipment, that's the right pictures, that's the proof of all the blood, sweat, and tears you put into using that over the years. And that's kind of the handoff. Then it's marketing's turn to say, we are going to find the right person to buy this piece of equipment from you who's going to value it in the same way you do. because they see what you've put into it. And I think that transparency in the listing process is something that only we can really leverage because we do so much time and spend so much effort in making sure we get that right. And I mean, from the marketing side, we talk to the sales team all the time because they have so much value and kind of attachment to what they're listing. It's almost like a transfer from that farmer to the sales rep in how much they're holding on to what they want this to produce for that person. So it's a great experience. And, we stand on trade show floors all year. We were just at a show last week talking to all kinds of farmers in the industry about what they're seeing and what they're looking for. We stood on site and watched someone buy something off of an auction, which is always a great experience. Yeah, he walked up and he said that's my item as long as it ends in the next, 50 seconds, and shook his hand. And it's just there's a reason that you work in agriculture and you support those kind of individuals because it's just such a different experience. So I know our sales team feels it, and I think that that's the handoff into the marketing world that we feel so invested in making sure that equipment gets the right visibility. So when we see those kind of stats where it's traveling that far, it's a testament to the equipment and what our sellers are bringing to the market. It's a testament to how our reps are putting in the time to list it. And it's just a testament to our sellers and our buyers and our bidders. They're coming back. 40% of our bidders are repeat bidders every month. 60% are new.
Yes.
So it's an
It's
amazing,
growing.
yes, it's an amazing balance of this brand loyalty that we're really hoping to evolve with our bidders, but also trying to convert those new eyes because it's, it's amazing what we're seeing us do for our sellers and buyers in that same regard. We have a really busy end of the year coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We always see the
Yeah.
busy time at the end of the year on bigiron.com. But can you talk a little bit about what we're going to see here in the next week or so before we hit 2025?
Well, just this week alone, December the 18th, the sale yesterday, phenomenal
Yes, that was
sale,
a great sale.
phenomenal sale, with a lot of retirement sales. And we're talking once again,
Yeah.
this late model equipment. So when I started off the broadcast, I'm going to bring this full circle now. These folks had beat 179 with their depreciation. Now they're saying, you know what? Um, I'm a couple years older and the margins are really tight.
Yep.
And I've got people wanting to rent my ground, or I can rent my ground. And maybe I just need to spend more time doing the things I like and love. And
Absolutely.
those are some of the retirement sales we're seeing right now. So you have your choice and your opportunity to bid and buy on 21, 22, 23, 24 year model machines that are selling on Big Iron and Sullivan Auctioneers websites at prices that are determined by the true, honest competition from people that want to use it.
Yeah,
And you're supporting your farmers uh, who have given their careers to
absolutely.
producing the food, the fiber, and the fuel that so many people take advantage of. Every day, somebody driving down the road, there's ethanol now in the gas tanks. There's going to be soybeans put into jets, which is going to get us traveling to go see grandma and grandpa, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So those are all done by our farmers. And let's not forget our cattle and livestock producers,
Yes.
the chicken guys, the turkey guys, the hog guys, the cattle guys. And a lot of people are going to start calving right now. And so far in this part of the country, we've had really good, November and December. So a lot of corn stalks getting some coverage. But I think our friends out in Illinois and to the east of us, they got snow on the ground. So our, hats off to you guys because your jobs don't stop.
No.
You just don't take off. You can't call a snow blizzard day when you got livestock out there. You got to make sure that they got water. You got to break the ice. If you got to haul the water if they're on
Yep.
a cornstalk field where they don't have a well, and they got to bring some hay or some grass or out something to 'em when they're suffering through that winter.
Yeah, a snow
Uh,
day for me usually meant scooping bunks for somebody. Not typically me, because I think I got lucky. So thanks, Dad, on that one. But yeah, I remember many a day of that. So we're entering that time frame for them, and it is a long, cold, hard-working winter in many cases for those guys.
muck boots.
Yeah.
You gotta have those stocking caps or them hats that cover your ears and your fingers that you gotta I'm not a guy that can work well with gloves on, so I usually get out there, and if I gotta unthaw water or something, you're out there, you gotta take your gloves off because
Yeah.
I can't do anything with gloves on. I gotta feel it with my fingers, and then my fingers freeze, and you put them back in your pocket, you go back in and pick up, you warm up a little bit, and you go it after again, so been there, done that,
Yeah.
still doing it, okay?
Nebraska winter memories.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. It's coming right around the corner, but yeah, 2024 in retrospect We've just got December 26th and 27 coming up,
Yep.
massive 2-day year-end auctions online with phenomenal equipment. And as always, we so encourage any bidder or buyer to call the seller, call those owners. And if they don't answer their phone, leave them a message, send them a text message. But sometimes they're answering a lot of calls.
Yeah.
Watch the videos because that tells you a lot about the equipment. Look through all of the picture sets, and it's amazing. A lot of machineries have over 100 photos on
Yeah.
every piece, and we do that for a reason. We want to show you all the good and all of the bad.
Yep.
We want to be complete full disclosure because I think that's important. I'm a farm kid.
Yeah.
I'm a farmer. Um, I still my kids don't even let me go out there and make around. I did get to run the grain cart this year, but they won't let me
Ooh.
run the combine, Sarah.
Nope.
I
You've
don't
been
know.
demoted.
I've been demoted. I've been demoted to I called up Daniel and I said, "Guys, I got a couple days on a Friday and Saturday." I said, "Can I come and help you guys?" And he says, "Dad, we got it covered, but if you want to go watch the auger, you can watch the auger." I said,
Watch the
"That was
auger.
always Grandpa's job." He goes, "Yeah, that's your job now,
That's
Dad.
your
That's your
job
job."
now.
So I have been promoted to Grandpa's job. That's the way I
Well,
look at it.
my kids all think that the grain cart's the place to be because that's
That's
got the
fun.
most action. You're at least moving
We're
around.
moving.
They've ridden in the grain or in the combine with grandpa and they're like, that's kind of boring.
With
So
the auto steer, they got the row sense going, and
I
the thing
know.
goes up and down and tilts and stuff, and all you got to do is turn it and
Yep.
get your next rows and go again. But push the button to unload and unload. I mean, and then they got the radio stuff going on, whatever. And they
Yep.
look at all the fancy computers. It's like a cockpit of a jet in
It
there.
is. I don't know. I think that it's amazing the way that that's changed. And every year I think I could do it, but I probably couldn't. So
Yeah,
I've not ever been given that opportunity. Probably won't. That's okay.
pure entertainment. So
It
hats
is.
off. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thank you for watching Gear Up with Big Iron. Thank you, Sarah
Thank
Baker,
you.
and we're so proud to have Sarah and all of the team that works together with so much passion.
Yeah.
Because
We
I mean, I love my job. I don't actually. It's not a job. I don't have a job.
we
This
say
is
we love our Big Iron family.
yes. I
Absolutely.
just love what I do because it's not work to me.
Yep.
It's just pure entertainment. And I love meeting people, and I love surrounding myself with people that are a lot smarter than I am. Please share this information with all your friends. And if an auction is in your future in 2025, if you want to sell some farmland, oh, let's not forget about the livestock.
That's right.
We topped the market on some 4-year-old red Angus mama cows.
Yep.
They were bred. They didn't even have calves on the side, folks. $4,290 sold online on Big Iron, and that market's getting some traction because there's a shortage of
Yeah.
animals in the feedlots. I just talked with an order buyer this morning, and he said the numbers are low, the show lists are low. He thinks the market's going to stay pretty positive for a while, and there's a lot of people that are uh, finding it hard to find people to help them because we're all getting older.
Yeah.
We all got a little more gray hair. And a lot of the younger guys and gals, half of them, if not more, they want to move off the farm and they want to go live the city life. Well, that means there's a shortage of people to stay back and calve out
Yeah.
all the first calf heifers because you got to live with them. You know, you got to make sure that baby, when it's born, it loves its mama or the mama loves it because
Yeah.
sometimes that don't work quite that way.
24/7 job.
24/7 job. And so the herd size, according to this gentleman I just spoke to the morning, he says the big ranchers, they're not retaining a lot of these heifers.
Yeah.
So our numbers are going to stay low. So the price will probably stay positive for a while. We're seeing that too from the the ranch families that are buying some of the machinery, right? They're
Yeah.
buying these feed wagons, they're upgrading some of their equipment. They have the 179 depreciation problem this year because boy, you sell a 600-pound critter for $2,000, $2,100, you know, eventually Uncle Sam is standing there wanting to know where he can get his hand in your pocket. So, but anyway, thank you to everybody that's watching and share this message information. Go to Big Iron because we have a lot of great sales, not only the year-end sales, but right after the first of the year. A lot of good quality farms being sold, a lot of real good quality machinery being sold, and the livestock industry's kicking off. And we've got some good feeder cattle and some bred cows and some pairs in 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Happy holidays.